Welcome to Amazon Bustle, and today we're going to do an Amazon Flex shift. Now we're just pulling up to the Amazon hub, and this is where you check in and get your packages so you can start delivering. First tip, be early. Do not be on time, because if you show up a few minutes late, they might not let you deliver at all. At my location, sometimes they'll ask you how long your block was scheduled for. You just tell them the hours so they can give you the cart to match the hours that you selected. After that, just wait a few minutes and your cart will be delivered to your car. Sometimes it takes a few extra minutes depending on how many cars are in front of you, but don't worry, a cart's coming. If you didn't know by now, this is a voiceover because I'm not sure how they would act to people recording at this hub. Also, it's 110 degrees outside, so the AC is blasting and there's a bunch of background noise, so I just figured it'd be better this way. I'm also taking my time because they haven't given my license back to me yet. Make sure you don't leave the station without your license because that's something you're going to really need. Well, I'm still waiting on my license to come back to me. Let me check my phone real quick. Well, the app said it's go time, so it's time to get out in this heat and load these packages. Now, I'm pretty sure you can use whatever car you have as long as it's not too small, but just keep in mind, these packages have been everywhere, so they're not clean. And some of these boxes are pretty heavy, so it'll definitely put some extra wear and tear on your vehicle. So normally, on the side of these carts, there's going to be a paper with your route hours and a QR code. You scan the QR code. Hey, look, there's my license, finally, thank you. You scan that QR code at the top right, and it will load your route up right into the app. It might take a few seconds to load up. Sometimes you might have to close and restart the app, but eventually it'll load up as long as your service is good. Once it's loaded, now it's time to start scanning packages. There's a code on these containers that you can scan, and it will load all the packages in the container automatically into your app, so you won't have to scan each individual package. Once I'm done doing that, now it's time to get these packages that are not in the container and are off to the side. These tend to be a little bigger and a little heavier, so I like to load these in the trunk. Now I like to load these in according to zones. The zones can be located on that paper or in the app, but I normally just look at the paper. The top zone is normally going to be your first group of stops, so I like to load these in from left to right, left being my first group of stops and right being my last group of stops. But right now, I'm just getting all these off the cart, and like I said, some of these can be heavy, upwards of 20 to 30 pounds. So if you can't lift at least 30 pounds, this might not be the side hustle for you. Now that I have them all out with the barcode showing, I'm going to scan them all into the app because you can't leave unless you've scanned all your packages. If you are missing a package, just flag over an employee and they'll assist you. Now that I have them all scanned into the app, it's time to load these into my trunk. Now remember, these packages are a little bit bigger and a little bit heavier, so let me put you up here so I can make a little extra room in my trunk. Did I mention it was 110 degrees outside today? There's a little breeze, but it's just blowing hot air, so it's not really doing much for me. So now as I'm loading these in from left to right according to the zones they are in, sometimes you have to turn them sideways, upside down, it don't matter. Just fit them in there the best you can. Just try not to damage the boxes any more than they already are, and you'll be fine. Sorry I have to blur this out. Don't want the internet getting other people's information. Now that I pretty much have them all in here, I think I got one more left. Put it right on top, and then we can start on the containers. Now that we're ready to load these containers into the car, I check back with the paper to make sure the first zone is the first container, and that's going to be the first container that I load into my car. Now, since the first zone is usually the first group of stops, I like to load this one into the passenger seat up front. This is where I realized that my doors are locked, so now I have to walk around the car to unlock the doors. Give me a few seconds, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna blame this on the heat, and I'm probably getting a swig of water, so make sure you stay hydrated. Also, I'm just gonna take this time to ask you to like and subscribe to this video if you find it useful or helpful. It helps out the channel. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to comment and I will make sure I get back to all the questions I can. Now that the doors are unlocked and I'm hydrated, it's time to put these packages into the car. I have to blur this out because some information is just not meant to be shared. So I like to start by taking all the boxes out of this container first. And I organize those according to the yellow sticker. For example, 0180, so all my 0180s all the way up to 0189 will be in one section. All my 017s will be in one section. All my 016s will be in one section. And so on and so forth. After I'm done organizing them, I'll load all the boxes onto the seat by their sections so that they're all close to each other so that I can easily find them when I get to the stops. These boxes aren't usually heavy, but they come in all shapes and sizes, so just try your best to fit them all in the seat as you can. Now I'm done with all the boxes in that container. It's time to move on to the paper and the plastic. These are normally light and small, so I just put these on the floorboard, organized according to the yellow sticker as so. Just like the boxes, they're not very heavy, but they come in all sizes and shapes. So sometimes it's a little difficult to fit them all on the floorboard, but just do the best you can or organize them however you think is best for you, since you're the one that's going to be delivering them. Since I'm not scanning each package individually, this process normally only takes about 5 to 6 minutes, but today it's taking a little longer because I'm trying to record and show you. But if you aren't recording, you should be able to do this in at least 5 to 6 minutes. Now, just bear with me for a few more seconds as I place the rest of these packages on the floorboard, and then I'll show you how it looks unblurred so you can see how my front seat normally looks when I'm done loading the first container for the first zone. Well, there you go. Try not to close the container in your door or else your door won't close. Now it's time to move on to the next container. Now I check my paper to see what the next zone is. I find the next container with that zone, and this one normally goes on the passenger side back seat. I do it like this because after I'm done with my first group of stops, it's just easier for me to reach back and find these packages, which is normally my next group of stops. So now I thought it was a good idea for me to set the phone right here so you can see me take the boxes out, organize them, and then I'll move on to the paper and plastic packages and place those on the floorboard as well. Luckily, it's not that many packages in this container, so this should be fairly quick. Now that I have them all organized, it's time to load them in the back seat, making sure that I'm keeping all the numbers close together so that I can easily find them when I get to the stop. Now after I'm done with the boxes, like so, I move on to the paper and plastic, organize those, and I place those right on the floorboard. Now that I'm done, I'll give you a quick glimpse of what the back seat looks like. Now it's time to move on to the next container for the next zone. Once I find the container for my next zone, depending on how many packages is in the container, I normally just put these in the back middle part of the car. I'll set you up here so you can see me do this container the same way. Boxes first, and then paper and plastic packages on the floorboard. There wasn't that many packages in this container, as you can see. It all fits right in the middle part of the car. Shout out to the Amazon employees in the background at this hub. They really do a great job. Now that I'm on my last container, I know this is going to be my last zone, which will be my last group of stops for the route. And guess what? I do this one the exact same way. Boxes first, paper and plastic packages last, on the floorboard. Now, since this is my last container for my last group of stops, it goes behind me in the back seat. But once more room opens up in my car, I move these packages up to the front seat to make my last group of stops a little bit easier. Again, shout out to those Amazon employees, still working hard. Now, I like doing it in this older Lexus because it's huge, but I sure wish I had that Honda in the background for the gas mileage. So this is what a fully loaded car looks like. All the containers are empty. Now we're all done. Now that I'm done loading my car, I'll walk around. I forgot to close the door, so I'll close it, make sure no packages fell out. And then I'll go to the trunk and I'll write down what's on the yellow sticker for the packages in my trunk. So when I get to the stop, I know that package is in the trunk. And now we're all done, ready to start the route.